Hello and welcome to another video. In today's video I'll be taking a look at my favorite Open Great League team. The team that got to 12th in the world last season and kept me in the top 100 in the world for 3 weeks straight. There's not much to say about it. Medicham is the safe swap. Try and get some energy advantage or shield advantage on Shadow Charizard. Play aggressively. I'm gonna show you some examples on how to do that very soon. I know I have shown this team before, but I miss this team so much when I don't play with it for a while, so I accidentally played with it, and I even more accidentally had some incredible battles with it, so I really wanted to show them. Going into the first game, we lead into a Shadow Swampert. Yikes. Into Medicham immediately. How you want to play specifically against a Shadow Swampert is you don't want switch advantage, because as you see, Shadow Charizard is not really all that good against it either. You want to try and get shield advantage or energy advantage, and then try and tag team this Swampert with your Stunfisk and Shadow Charizard. We land the Psychic on Froslass. They go for an Avalanche bait, so they have to throw another one, meaning they're dry now. It takes 6 Powder Snows for the first 2 Avalanches, and then 5 for the third one. So they're gonna get to a third one on my Stunfisk, but that's fine too. Just gonna get a lot of energy on Stunfisk, and because it's a Shadow Swampert, they're just always gonna shield this. An Earthquake does so much, so they have to shield. Now they're at 5 Mud Shots, meaning they have a Hydro Cannon loaded, but I swap in my Charizard, up a shield, they throw 1 more Mud Shot, meaning now they have 1 Mud Shot out of 4, because it takes 4 for the second Hydro Cannon. And instead of throwing my Dragon Claw on CMP, if I throw it, they're gonna survive it and get to their move anyway, so I still have to spend my shield. So I just keep hold of all the energy. They bring in Alolan Ninetales, and I go for a very silly bait. And they call it. But then we can go for the Blast Burn afterwards. Will they shield this? Boom! Takes out the Alolan Ninetales. The Swampert is 4 away, so we go up to the CMP tie on the Dragon Claw. Very important detail to keep track of the opponent's energy, because they have to shield this, and now we force them to throw the Hydro Cannon, meaning they're 4 Mud Shots away from their next Hydro Cannon, so we can get to the Rock Slide on Stunfisk. Is this enough? Non-stab Rock Slide. It is, and we take out the Shadow Swampert. Next game, we lead into a Shadow Venusaur. This is generally a good matchup for Galarian Stunfisk, because when Venusaur Shadow, 2 Rock Slides is enough to take it out, but Venusaur does win the 2 shields because 1 Frenzy Plant plus all the Vine Whips add up to take out the Stunfisk at that point, at least according to the Sims. It might be different because my Stunfisk is so good IV wise. I take the shield and aggressively swap into Charizard, but they also swap in their Stunfisk, which I definitely would not recommend from their side of the battle. But yeah, it takes 5 Mud Shots for every Rock Slide. So we go up to 5, then throw the Blast Burn. No reason to bait really, because we're gonna get to 2 anyways. They throw another Rock Slide, and we go for another 5 Wing Attacks, absolutely maximizing the energy on Charizard. Charizard is just so good with energy. I have to be aware that the Venusaur is only 1 Vine Whip away from a Sludge Bomb, because it only takes 6 Vine Whips to get to a Sludge Bomb after you've thrown a Frenzy Plant. But they come in with an Azumarill, so I save the energy on Charizard and swap in Medicham. Go for a Psychic, take the Play Rough, go for a Psychic right before they get to the second Play Rough, and then they swap in Venusaur, go for the Ice Punch immediately, but they have been counting incredibly well. Go for the Frenzy Plant. They went 1 over, so they're 4 away from their third Frenzy Plant. It's the same as with Froslass. It takes 6, 6, 5 for Frenzy Plants. And I don't really want to take a Frenzy Plant. Even though it's double resisted, it's gonna hurt so much Shadow on Shadow here. So I take out the Venusaur, and then I forget how much energy the Azumarill has. Well played me. But now it's dry, and I have energy on Stunfisk, so I can get to the Earthquake and Stunfisk instead. This should be enough, I hope. It is. Next game, we lead into a Medicham. Yikes! Medicham immediately, and they bring in Galarian Weezing. But the thing about Galarian Weezing is most people run Brutal Swing Overheat on it, meaning it's not that threatening to Medicham And I have Psychic, so I'm quite threatening to it. So I go for the bait. Oh, this is a risky bait. And it lands. Nice, they shield it. They go for another move. It takes 5 Fairy Winds for the first Brutal Swing, then 4, then 5, then 4. So I throw Psychic right before they get to the third Brutal Swing, I think. And we grab the second shield. It wouldn't have quite been enough. A Psychic only does like 71% to Galarian Weezing. So they could have no-shielded it. At this point, I'm thinking, I know my Galarian Stunfisk can survive an overheat, so I let it go. And they bait me. But now I'm thinking, I have all this energy and I don't survive an overheat. So I do shield it, and it's actually the overheat. Awesome. We go for the Rock Slide, because at this point it should be enough. And then we swap into Charizard immediately. They swap in Noctowl. And the thing about Noctowl is that after 9 or 10 wing attacks, a Blast Burn is lethal on the Noctowl. So we can just overfarm up to 100 and only have to throw 1 Blast Burn on it. And the Medicham did 2 counters in total. So yeah, it's on 2 counters at this point. So it's 4 away from the Ice Punch. Get up, CMP tied, just for good measure. It takes 6 wing attacks and a Blast Burn to take out a Medicham. Boom, by the way, forgot to say boom before with the Noctowl. But 6 wing attacks plus a Blast Burn to take out the Medicham. So that one wasn't quite enough, but now we can just farm it down with Stunfisk. And that was actually a 5-0 in that particular set. I went 19-6 with this team overall. So it works out very well, and it's a lot of fun too. Next game, Nightmare lead. Chestnut absolutely wall Stunfisk. So we swap in Medicham immediately, and they go up for a Frenzy Plant before swapping out, I assume. Swap into Powder Snow, Alolan, Ninetales. So we go up to 4 more counters. It takes 5 for the first Weather Ball, and then 4 for the second one with Alolan Ninetales. So they go up to the CMP tie. Very nice counting by the opponent. So they have 4 Powder Snows with them now. They go up, throw 5 more, I think, and go for another CMP tie, but I'm not going to fall for that. And also, I want to come out with a lot of energy. You also saw I brought in Stunfisk immediately because our switch timers are misaligned because they threw that Frenzy Plant at the beginning. So I take both the Weather Ball, keep all the energy, and then bring in my Shadow Charizard to also get energy here. But then they bring in a Lantern of all things. Just RPS City. The Blast Burn, we grab the shield. And then we get to CMP tie them on the second one. Is there actually play here? Of course, I'm gonna let this go now because they still have 4 sparks worth of energy. So they're 1 away from the next serve. Yeah. And, well, I don't think a Rock Slide is definitely not enough here. So I have to Earthquake it, which is really unfortunate. In order to take it out, I go up to almost 100 energy. Then Earthquake it. And yeah, they still have that Chestnut. I think if it wasn't specifically Lantern in the back, we might have had them play because of how well I managed my energy. But yeah, it's just not enough. It's at 2 superpowers at that point. And Earthquake still does quite a lot to the Chestnut. Well, can't win them all. Sometimes you're just going to get outpaced. Next game, into a Registeel. Registeel does outpace to the first move, but Stunfisk and Registeel CMP tie in the second one if you go straight Earthquake and they go straight Focus Blast. So you do win the 1 shield, or you do win the 0 shields because you win CMP with Stunfisk, but they swap in Sableye, so I throw an Earthquake and then swap in my Charizard. They get to 1 move, but then we can farm them down all the way afterwards and come out with a lot of energy on Shadow Charizard. They can't bring in Registeel here, I don't think. So they bring in Shadow Gliscor, and I probably should be baiting here, because a Dragon Claw still does so much, but I choose to go for 2 Blast Burns instead. And they shield both of them. Yikes. And then they farm me all the way down, but we do get to Dragon Claw beforehand, which is actually pretty huge. Look, it still does a lot. But they're at 100 energy now, so I'm thinking they're going to want to throw immediately. So I throw 1 counter and then swap my Stunfisk in. And we catch an entire Earthquake on Stunfisk, which is absolutely massive. And at this point, it's only a Night Slash. because obviously you can't have 2 Earthquakes. Then they bring in Registeel, and they spent all their energy in Stunfisk earlier, so I know the Registeel is dry. So they throw their Sap Cannon immediately here. This is definitely what I want to shield. Because I know that they were dry, and they're dry now, I can actually just play it very aggressively and just farm them all the way down. Come out with a Psychic. Keep track of your energy kits. Also, it takes 16 turns to get to that Sap Cannon. And I count my counters instead, so it's 8 counters that I count for Medicham. That's how I keep track. Next game, we lead into another Shadow Swampert. In with Medicham immediately. And they counter swap Sableye. Yikes. Oh well, we're not gonna get a shield here, but maybe we can get play some other way. They let us get to 2 Ice Punches, but they are also getting a lot of energy here. They're at 100 energy now, I think. They take out our Medicham, and at this point I'm thinking, I can probably farm this all the way down. I can throw the Rock Slide to take out the Sableye before it gets to another foul play. But I think the energy is just so much more valuable in Stunfisk than the amount of HP the Sableye is going to be able to take away from me. Because now I can grab a shield from the Swampert. And of course it's a Shadow Swampert. An Earthquake does so much, they pretty much have to shield here. That's why I'm bait. And then I swap in Shadow Charizard. They go up to 7, because they were at 2 mud shots before I came in with Charizard. So they're at 2 now. Out of 4, they throw immediately. No, they swap out to Registeel. And a Blast Burn is not quite enough. So you can just Blast Burn the Registeel. Boom! And then farm it down afterwards. Come out with a lot of energy. Throw 1 Dragon Claw. They shield it. And I go for the Blast Burn. This is not necessary. Maybe a little disrespectful too, but I just wanted to show him that I had complete coverage over that game. That I was completely aware of where he was. Next game, another Swampert. Another yikes. Swap in Medicham, and they have Froslass again. Yikes. Oh well, we go straight for the Psychic. We don't want to let them get to a Shadow Ball before we get off our energy. And they shield it, which is very surprising. I'm thinking, you know what? Shield advantage, that sounds great for me. So I'm just going to let them take me out. Bring in Stunfisk. It takes 7 for the Shadow Ball and then still 2 times 6 for the Avalanches. So I go up to right before they get to their second Avalanche. I don't want to take the Avalanche because it's going to be so close to taking me out, which is why I use the energy here. I don't think I can get to an Earthquake on Swampert anyways. I stay in just to threaten the Earthquake so that the Swampert will expend all this energy. Now it's only on 1 mud shot, meaning it's a lot less threatening. And then they bring in Alolan Ninetales. I have to shield everything with Charizard. It takes 5 for the first Weather Ball, 4 for the second one, so I go up, CMP tie them. Again, Charizard just wins CMP against almost everything. Take out the Alolan Ninetales. And they throw their move immediately here, meaning they're 5 away from their next Hydro Cannon. Can I get to 2 Blast Burns? I cannot, so I go for the bait. Will they take it? This is not enough at all. They shield it, and we get to a Blast Burn on the Swampert. Is this enough? It is! Charizard takes out another Swampert. It does about 56% to a Swampert. Next game, we lead into a Sableye. I have to stay in here, because Medicham really doesn't want to see Sableye. They throw in CMP. It takes, again, it's the same with the Sableye as Froslass. It takes 6 and then 5 for the third foul play. They shield the Earthquake, and if they throw immediately, you can live 2 foul plays and still get off a Rock Slide at least, but because they got those 3 extra Shadow Claws, the foul play is enough to take out, so I have to shield if I want to get off the Earthquake. Then I swap in Charizard up a shield aggressively, and we get punished by a Lantern. This is just to show a game where you do get punished sometimes by playing Charizard this way, but I would still encourage you to do it, because more times than not, it's gonna work out so well for you. They're at another surf now, so we have to CMP tire them. We actually get to 2 blast burns, and we actually take out the Lantern with Charizard. That's the power of Charizard. We did have to spend the shield, of course, and we had to be up energy in order to do it. It is a bad matchup, obviously. And we get to another blast burn on the Noctowl that they bring in. That is a lot of damage. But I still don't know how to handle that Sableye in the back. It's on 5 Shadow Claws, meaning it's 3 away from a return. So I try to catch the return on Stunfisk. I think that's my only win con. But instead they throw a foul play. So yeah, Medicham is gonna have a very rough time here. The right way to play the Sableye Medicham matchup is definitely to go for the return, and then just farm down afterwards from the Sableye's point of view, at least in the zero shields, like just in general, because Medicham is not gonna shield. Next game, last game I think, we lead into a Mantine. The way I usually play this, if they shield the first one, I just let them bubble beam me to death. Like they're just gonna keep bubble beaming because they know they're gonna win the one shield. But then at the end, when they throw the last bubble beam and it almost takes out Stunfisk, I aggressively swap into Charizard and save a Rock Slide on Stunfisk, and then I farm down the Mantine with Charizard. But this guy particularly, or specifically, doesn't shield the first Rock Slide, meaning Stunfisk actually wins the every matchup, I think. Mantine has to shield the first one in order to win the one shield against Stunfisk. Now we go up for another rock. It takes 5 wing attack for every bubble beam, and they win CMP, so they're just gonna get to it every time, like one before us. So I decided to just let this bubble beam go. Then I think I load up to an earthquake, and then save the energy on Stunfisk and bring in Charizard. Get energy here as well. They bring in a Talonflame. This is a very good matchup for Charizard. Go for Dragon Claw. And it's just safe to shield everything from Talonflame. You might think, oh, but they always bait. And you are correct. They always bait. But it still does quite a lot, the Flame Charge. And just in case they don't, like Charizard is just so much faster. A Blast Burn does, again, I think about 56% here too. So it isn't Blast Burn range, and I don't think they're going to expect it, so I go for it. And it takes out the Talonflame. Then in comes a Superior, and they go for a move after 5 Vine Whips, meaning it can only be a Leaf Tornado. It takes 6 to a Frenzy Plant and to an Aerial Ace. So just take it. And then they throw 5 more. So it's just another Leaf Tornado. And I'm really not sure why they stay in, to be honest. We throw another Blast Burn. It is double debuffed at this point, but Charizard, of course, is gonna take it out. And we get up to rank 18. That was the last battle for today, and of course, I would recommend this team. Although if you are new to the game and you haven't quite mastered all the game mechanics and over farming and all that, I would probably use Noctowl instead of Charizard, since this team very much relies on you over farming and managing your energy correctly and using all the game mechanics and all the CMP ties that I'm going for. Fun fact of the day: Shadow Charizard beats Shadow Swampert in the 2-shield scenario. Just straight up, straight Dragon Claw, no biggie. And you do come out with a lot of HP, because Swampert has to land the move, otherwise it does no damage. If you like these types of videos and or feel like you learned something and want to learn more, then subscribe to the channel. Other than that, thank you for watching, and hope to see you next time.